Welcome to the cast. I'm Gary West, and today we have Steve Haverly and Bobbi Haverly with us. They are actually my in-laws, and today we're going to get into marriage. But before we do that, I think Tia has a little something for us. Tia, what do you got over there?
Okay, so you guys have your whiteboards ready.
We're ready.
The first question I have is, I want to know, I was coming up to work today and I started thinking about how many years of marriage we have in this room right now. So I want you to write down how many years of marriage in this room all together total do we have?
Are you
all of our, you know.
I'm assuming you and Shannon are okay.
Yes. So
still?
Shannon and I,
Okay.
Tim, you, Gary, and then you guys. How much marriage experience do we have in this room? Write that number down. You can't start calculating, Gary, just off the top of your head.
I suppose he could.
No, I got to do the math on it.
Oh, no, that wouldn't be right.
I'm probably way off.
No, let's see. 46.
'Cause I started.
I'm going to start
math.
ding, 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 ding.
Okay, I got a number.
Okay, does everybody have a number?
Yep.
Okay, Bobby, you're the lady, so what do you think?
106.
106. Steve?
85.
Okay.
I got 102.
It's 111. 111 years
Years.
of
I didn't do the
marriage
math
experience in this room.
Well, I didn't know,
Right
so.
now.
I wrote 102
Yeah.
the first time.
Okay, so we
Okay.
have another question. So, it's a Czech tradition to throw something other than rice. What do they throw at Czech weddings?
Czechoslovakia?
Uh-huh. What?
Chex Mix.
Czech.
It's a good one. Yeah. Why would I know what they throw?
It's just a fun fact.
Not rice. I don't know.
Oh, that would hurt. Too big.
Everybody have something?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have, Bobby?
I don't have anything.
Oh, Bobby, you
Well, I started to
pick
write
something.
beans, but then I was like, that would hurt. So no.
Okay, so we'll say beans. Okay. Eggs. Potatoes. It's actually, they throw peas. So you were close,
Oh, I
Bobby.
was close.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, you guys most of you should get this one. What is the most popular month to wed in the United States?
Oh, let's see.
Oops.
Okay.
I don't know why
Bobby.
you think we should get this.
April? Steve?
June.
May.
And that's because Steve is a wedding planner. Steve is correct.
Heck, I knew that one hands down.
I lost my.
Okay, this is a true or false question.
50-50.
It's lawful to wed somebody who is dead in France. True or false?
Well, that's so weird. It's got to be true.
That's weird.
Okay, what do you have?
False.
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 True.
Gary, you are correct.
Yeah.
It is lawful to wed somebody who is dead in France. Now, this is
That's
Shannon's
How does that
research.
work?
I don't know.
So,
Let's not go into that.
yeah.
Tell me about the honeymoon.
Let's not.
Let's-
Okay, we have one more.
Maybe they're thinking the resurrection will bring them back and they'll be all right.
Well, I'm thinking it has something to do with, like, maybe, which I'm going way out on a limb, like if somebody was going to be married to somebody, they die, like, right in the process, and then all their belongings, like, she's going to be taken care of. Like, if he's dead, she gets his stuff, but that's just me. I have zero clue. Okay, so more than friendship, laughter, forgiveness, compatibility, and sex, spouses name this as the element crucial for a happy marriage.
What were the things you mentioned other than the?
Other than friendship, laughter, forgiveness, compatibility, and sex. They name this as the highest element crucial for a happy marriage.
That's an easy one.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Bobby.
can't believe you're not right.
wrong, Gary.
Oh, no, that's right.
What did you put, Bobby?
Communication.
Communication, money,
Cooking.
and cooking. It is trust. Trust. Yes.
Well, if you can't trust the cooking,
That's what we forgot about.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm done with you. You can.
That's what
We're
you're
done
done
with the
with?
game.
I just
That's
knew
good.
it was communication.
There you go.
trust. That's interesting. I would agree, though. I would say that's a huge.
We're done.
Yeah. I like
My
the
cap fell off.
communication.
That's why I've been borrowing yours. Here you go.
Okay. Put that over there. One more. There we go. All right. So let's get into today's episode. Today we're going to talk about marriage. And you guys have a little bit of background in marriage, but before we get into that, for those who may be new to the church or don't know you as well, can you just start with maybe a brief history of your connection to First Assembly of God? Let's start with Bobbi.
In 1976, I started coming to the church on our street. That makes me really old, doesn't it? That's okay, I am old. But anyway, yeah. And Pastor Duncan was the preacher. Yeah. And I started when I was 12, coming with a neighbor, Charlie Tidd, to church. Yeah.
Did that person invite you?
Yeah, they were our neighbor, and I was just obviously a little kid, and yeah, they invited us. And I remember they invited us on a Sunday morning. My brothers went. I didn't go, and I felt guilty all day long. And so I went that evening, and I gave my heart to the Lord. Then Cindy Dorsett prayed through with me, and I got saved then, and the rest is history.
Charlie Tidd? Mm-hmm. How old were?
Senior. Charlie Tidd Senior.
And so he was an adult.
Yes.
And invited you to. Okay.
Yeah, his family.
I didn't know
went
if
to
another
church
kid
there.
I didn't know if one of your friends, like a kid, had asked
No,
you.
it was. They were adults, and he was over the kids ministry at that time. So yeah.
Okay. Steve, how'd you get here?
Well, I became interested in her, and it didn't take me too long to realize that, her church and her Christian life was a huge part of her life. So I knew that, not so much when we were dating, but by the time we were close to getting married, it became really evident that, I had to at least be attending church with her. Mm-hmm. And I grew up as a Catholic, and I didn't have a devoted life to the Lord, but I knew about Christianity. I wasn't not exposed to it. So I was okay with it. So I just started kind of going with her to church on Sundays.
Before you guys were even married?
You did a little.
Yeah,
bit.
a little before. Yeah, not for like a year or two or anything, but just
Yeah, a little bit beforehand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, like a lot of people, the longer you went to church, the more involved you got, and you guys have both been very involved in the church in the past and even currently. So, Bobbi, you were a youth, or what do you call it, children's ministry leader? Mm-hmm. Just recently?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For about 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Steve, you've been on the board, right?
Yeah. A number of years ago, I served on and off a little, but mostly on for probably around 15 years. There was just 1 or 2 years in between there that I set out a year at a time, and then just put my name back in. I was reelected, and so I spent a lot of time on the church board. And back in those days, Pastor Dodd was big on, when he was going to be gone, having one of the board members speak on like a Wednesday night or something. So that was kind of included back in those days, but it wasn't regular. But we would sometimes.
Okay. And have you guys, you've been on several marriage retreats that used to be a common thing too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You want to talk about that, or?
Well, I meant to look up today to see if we still have a couples retreat in Hartford City. Do you know, Tia?
I don't know.
Yeah. Every year after we got married, for probably 20 some years, we went to couples retreat, and it was fantastic. I would recommend it to anybody. We had a fantastic speaker. He was really a good teacher. He was very open and honest about things, and I would say that he's a big part of why we were able to get through some of the things that we got through. So I would recommend anybody that's married to constantly be learning. because you change seasons. You know, you think, oh, well, I've got him figured out. No, you don't, because we're constantly changing. So you constantly have to be learning about that season of your life. So, yeah.
Now, there's it wasn't always the same instructor, but for a lot of those years, they had him come back. And one year he brought his wife with him because he was just there so regularly that he would tell her about it, and then he brought her the one year. But he was a really great instructor. But more basically, like is what Bobbi said, we learned, you know, you don't know what you don't know until you begin to learn things, and then you find out, wow, there's a lot of things I didn't know. Now we're beginning to learn those things, and that's what we did with marriage at those retreats. Is we would learn principles and strategies of marriage and advice from him and others that that you can apply to your marriage, that strengthen your marriage in so many different ways that, you know, I think there just a lot of people don't understand how many things there are to learn that can enforce your marriage and to build it up and to make it richer. It's not what a lot of people do, and I think what a lot of people do is they just get married, and it's like getting on a roller coaster. They just get in and sit there for the ride, and wherever it goes, that's where they go. Right. But there's way more than that. There's so many things that you can do and learn and be and you know, to change things, to make them better so that it's successful.
Would you so you guys would both recommend to somebody who is a little bit skeptical about going to one of these retreats to do it?
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely.
Probably one of the most important things they could do in their marriage is to invest some time, and especially like the way we did it is it was out of town, and it was a weekend. It was a, you know, like a Friday night, all day Saturday until like noon on Sunday. So you had to go away. You had to invest traveling to it.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't far away, but I mean, you couldn't just run back home and pop the laundry in and then go back to the camp.
Right.
And it made it special. It made it important because it was an event that was away from home, and they focused on really pouring your attention into each other. Not just sitting there in classes and things like that, but they had activities and discussions and things where, you know, it would really make me focus on her and her focus on me, and that whole time we were gone. So that just is naturally going to help an intimate relationship like marriage, you know.
And it's a lot of fun. When we went over the years, there were times when there were just like maybe 2 other couples that went with us, but it got to the point as our church grew and Pastor Dodd was there and the church was really growing, there were like 16, 17 couples go, and we had a blast. We really had a blast. Lots of fun.
So how did you two meet? When did you guys start dating?
Go ahead.
You're going to leave that to me. I was 15 and Steve was 17. We were such children, and we didn't realize how we were such children. But anyway, we started dating in high school, and we ended up getting married while I was still in high school, and Steve was 18. We had Heidi right after that, and we are sitting here as a miracle. We're not sitting here as a couple that's like, we've got it all together, we know how to be married, you know, we've got the success log here, let's just tell you how it's done. That is not at all it. We are a miracle. We, you know how they have who's the most likely to succeed? Well, we were the most likely to not succeed. I'm sure that people at our wedding were going, oh, these kids, they'll never make it. And praise God, it was only by His grace that we have made it through our marriage. And I feel like we've had a successful marriage. I mean, while we've had our ups and downs like everyone else, you know, I feel like that it's been successful. I mean, we've been married 46 years and we still love each other. We still like each other, you know, so that's a big deal.
Yeah. And there's a difference there.
There
can be a difference.
Well, let's dive into that. What's the difference?
Well,
it has to put you on the spot. It's kind of tough.
I shouldn't have said that. No.
I think you'll get there.
I mean, I think most people can understand that liking a person and loving them. You can think of any relationship, whether it's your spouse or a brother or sister or cousin or whatever. You may not just really be in love with everything they do and say, but you love them because they're a close loved one to you, and you're never going to stop loving them. It's different with us now. We learned over time to not just love each other more, but to like each other more. And I think when you start loving each other more, you actually start liking each other more, because it's a more fun activity to do. Marriage then becomes, more rich and fulfilling. So you like that. Yeah. So now I like being with her, more than I did last year and more than I did, 40 years ago. And it's just a natural progression. When you're doing something that you love to do, you're going to fall in love with the person more and more all the time.
Right. Yeah,
that's just a natural thing. I think it's the way it works. But yeah, so
Bobbi, you said a successful marriage. Could you define? You may not be able to, but could you define a successful marriage?
Oh, whoa.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Help me out here.
I think it probably kind of starts along the lines of what I just said, is growing into a relationship with that person. Nobody starts off the first year they're married. They may think they do. They don't know anything. You don't know anything that first year you're married to somebody. I don't care how long you've been going together or doing whatever you've been doing, but when you start living in the same house day in and day out with somebody, and going through all of the annual rituals of Christmas and birthdays and different holidays, and doing things, going to other people's homes and events that happen in life, that's when the rubber meets the road. That's where just the little things, and those are the things that can come in and start causing
it's the little things, like when the dishwasher goes out, or when you have to send your kids to school, or are we sending them to daycare, or are we not? Which one are we sending them to?
It can be as small as the proverbial cap on the toothpaste. Yeah, everybody's heard stuff like that. Why can't they just put the cap on the? Yeah. And there are always going to be. I don't know of anybody that doesn't have a spouse that's not had those things in their lives. I mean, it's just, who are these charmed people who are identical?
Shannon's one of them, right, Shannon? You never had any trouble.
Absolutely.
Well, well, first of all, you didn't grow up in the same house.
Right.
Second of all, you're different gender. That's enough right there to wreck the entire thing before it ever gets started.
Amen.
She's not going to be just like me, and she's going to do things like, well, I didn't know. I just thought I put it in the drawer, and I was like, no, it needs to be in the drawer like this, or whatever. No, those things are minor, but it's amazing, and I'm sure she could testify how they'll get in there. They'll get in there, and they'll start ruining your day, and then they'll start ruining your life if you let it. And it's stupid, but that's it. It happens.
So is it best to bring that up and try to have a conversation about it, or is it just best to keep that in and deal with it internally until you explode?
Well, it's how you approach it too. If you approach it in a way that's pointing a finger at the other person, then you're in trouble. But if you approach it, well, let me just back up. Okay, so when we first got married, one of the things that we did when the kids were little is we just about every week we would go out for dinner, or at least every other week, go out by ourselves for dinner. And honestly, we didn't have the money to at that time. But
without the kids,
we would get a babysitter and we would go out for dinner. And we would take time when we would go out, a period of time where we would talk about what needs to be changed or what doesn't need to be changed. We would make a point to talk about those kind of things, and then we would set them aside and we would have a nice date and enjoy each other's company. And we did that on a regular basis. So I think that helps a lot. But I think now that I've thought about the question a little more, I think putting God first and your husband second, and then your children, and then the church and ministry. I think if you line up those things and you keep those in line, that's what makes a successful marriage. And if you do those things, you will get to a point of having a successful marriage. Because, I mean, you can't just think, oh, I'll put God first. You have to really think about, just like Pastor's been talking about, seeking God. You've got to be a person who seeks God. He's got to be the center of your life. He's got to be the one that you turn to, that he leads your life. If he doesn't lead your life and he doesn't lead your heart, you can't have a good relationship with your husband. I'm sure there's people who have a fairly successful marriage, possibly without having the Lord. I don't know how, because I know that we couldn't have had. Yeah, it definitely has to be the Lord is first in your life, and you have to have a good relationship with him. I think it's really important that that you have a good prayer life, and you make sure that your heart is right with God. If your heart's not right with God, your prayers are hindered. If your heart's not right with him, and you're trying to pray for your spouse, or you're trying to pray for your kids, then your prayers are hindered, and they're not going to be successful. So I think it's just really important to put God first in the marriage, and in any relationship. It's just, that's going to be the success, I think, is that.
Go back to that hierarchy one more time. God, then your spouse, then the kids, and then the church.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, these are principles that are in Scripture. And this goes to the heart of probably what she and I would attribute to the success of marriage, is learning these principles that are for all of us and that have to do with marriage, that make a good marriage. And if you can't just get them by osmosis, like you're not just going to walk around and get this. You got to find out. And start by reading the Scripture, sure, but when you go to the things like we talked about, the couples retreat or classes on marriage, or you just sit down with somebody to mentor you about marriage, you can begin in a Christian setting. You find out that what she just described is the biblical pattern, and a lot of people are blown away. I've had guys look at me like a deer in the headlights when I tell them you put God first in front of your spouse, and then your spouse, this is where they really get blown away. They can understand that even if they don't do it, but they really get blown away when you say you're supposed to put your spouse before your children. And they go, huh? It's like, nobody ever says that.
Right.
My kids are come first. How many times have you heard a woman or a man, either one, say, don't get between me and my kids. Now, you can do whatever to him or whatever or her, but my kids, blah, blah, blah. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it, because they're little and they're young and they're formative and they need defended. They need protected. But spiritually speaking, God puts, he didn't make you one with your son or one with your daughter. He made you one with your wife. So those two become one flesh. So that there's a unity there that should come way before anything else. And people just don't understand that they don't have that in the right order. They don't have that system down. And when they begin to just start doing those things, and like she said, put your family before your ministry. How many times have you seen people just like they live here at the church, or they don't pay attention to anything going on in their life? They're studying for their lesson or whatever. That's all good, but you got to make sure that you're not putting that in front of something that's supposed to come before that. And that things will get way out of whack when that happens, and it happens all the time to people all over the place.
Yeah, and it can happen really almost accidentally, because I remember years ago praying for my kids, and God showed me very clearly, what about Steve? And it's real easy to immediately start praying for your kids when you start praying, because you have that natural instinct to protect them, to love them, to care for them. But and you think, oh well, he's tough enough, he can take care of himself, you know. So you automatically just start praying for your children. And God reminded me that I need to pray for Steve. He has to remind me constantly. Not because I don't love him, but anyway, but he does. He has to remind me, because as a mother, it just comes naturally to want to pray for your kids. Another thing is, Pastor Chris has been talking about, you know, we've been doing the fasting and praying, and the very first week that he taught on Wednesday night, he focused on praying for ourselves, which I have to confess, I have a hard time doing that. And the first thing I want to take off doing is praying for my kids. And what I have to do is, and God's really been dealing with me about this, is I've got to pray for myself. Nobody else can pray for myself the way I can pray for myself. Nobody else can confess my sins. Nobody else can talk to God about the things that need to be corrected in my life, or what need I have, or whatever. And so we have to recognize that it's not being selfish when we pray for ourselves. Because if we pray for ourselves and we get ourselves in line, then we can better walk in the power of the Holy Spirit to be able to minister to other people, minister to our kids, minister to our husband. And when we are walking, you know, close to God, and we've got everything right like that, then our prayers are going to be much more effective. You know, you talked about this not that long ago, talking about if Satan can't get you to sin, he will get you to be too busy. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit, is if he can't keep you from praying, he'll keep you from keeping yourself in line with what God wants for you, and you'll have sin in your life, and you'll have things between you and God. And if you don't spend time really talking to God and telling him your stuff and listening, there'll be sin in your life that you don't even recognize is coming between you and God, and it hinders everything in your life. So I think it's really important to pray for yourself.
Yep. So you guys, you talked about this just a little bit earlier. You intentionally set aside time to be together, to communicate, to express what concerns you had. How did you feel about receiving that feedback? I mean, she came to you, Steve, and said, hey, here are some things that I need you to work on.
Well, you know, some of the things we learned as we went on in our marriage was these things are going to come up. So I think you've got to kind of prepare yourself that sooner or later something is going to be brought up. Hey, I need to talk to you about something. It's, you know, we need to talk about it now before it gets to be a large thing. And so I think in the back of your mind, if you always understand that I kind of walk around every day thinking I'm probably doing something to irritate her, and I don't know it. And I'm probably doing something to irritate you, and I don't know it, and everyone else. But it's true.
Yeah,
it really is true.
I'm aware that I'm probably not the easiest to live with.
I think it's better to have the self-awareness that it's probably going on and I don't know about it. That way, when it comes up, it's not this total shock of, oh, I thought I was perfect. I thought I was just doing everything exactly right. And now it crushes me to find out I'm not. That's ridiculous, because most everybody has something.
Absolutely.
And they just don't. And even if it's not bad, it may just be something that is a personal irritation to her or to me that she does that wouldn't bother 5 or 6 other people, but it's just a thing for me, you know.
Well, here's an example. Are you finished?
I was.
Okay.
He is now.
I am now.
Sorry. He has to communicate to me all the time. He doesn't like to be interrupted. So, but anyway.
That's okay. Go right ahead.
So I used to think, and this has been many years ago, I used to think, oh, you know, Steve's happy when the whole house is clean. And if everything is all clean and done, you know. But then after we talked about it, it was like just a handful of things, and made my life so much easier. He just wanted, like, when he walked in the back door, the countertop that's right there, he doesn't want a stack of papers on the countertop or a bunch of stuff there, which is real easy. You walk in the door and you set your stuff down. Set your stuff down right there. And then This is really restricting me to not be able to talk with my hands.
You get used to it after a while.
And then he wants his underwear and his socks in his drawer clean and folded and ready to go, you know. And there were just a handful of things that he wanted done. And if I can get those things done, that makes him a happy camper. So, buddy, if I don't have the house clean, you just make sure you got the stuff off the countertop and you make sure you got the underwear and socks in the drawer.
It's not too much to ask.
I got a happy man. So by just communicating that, you know, it just makes a world of difference. So it might not be something that you're doing wrong. It's just a preference of the other one. And the time to talk about it is not when the countertop's full of papers and you walk in and they're there and you're frustrated because there they are again. That's not the time to talk about it. Yeah. Setting aside time to talk about things helps because you've got to recognize that when these things are happening, you don't mention it. You put it on the list. And then you set aside that time and you talk about it. Yeah. And then that keeps the from going on constantly.
Yeah, and it keeps your my tone of voice at the proper tone.
Right.
Because if I see the thing, whatever the thing may be, that bothers me, and right then I say, hey, let's talk about this, it's not going to have the right tone to it at all. Definitely going to use facial expressions that don't come across well, you know, stuff like that.
Well, I think communication is huge, but like you guys are talking about right now, it's how you present the information and how you receive it, because you can receive it the wrong way and you can also present it the wrong way.
Right.
But doing it, I think that's a good tip, is do it not in the moment. Do it at another time.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It may be the biggest part of that is just how you do it.
How you do it.
Yeah. It is certainly as important as what you're doing. Is all that other stuff is as big of that as the whatever the subject matter really is.
Okay, so we've got a young married couple in their teens. Now, do you have any other tips for success? How did you get here to be? Because I know
putting one foot in front of the other.
Putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. We had a good support system. Our church was a very good support system to us. When we got married, it wasn't under the best circumstances, and the church had a shower for us. I mean, they treated us just as if we were 25 years old and getting married. They were wonderful.
And our family was too.
Yeah, that was. But Pastor Duncan, and at the time he was married to Carolyn. No. Zan. And they were so supportive with us getting married and everything, and just so kind. And like the whole church was, we had a big family to surround us. You hear about, what is it they say? It takes a village to raise children. Well, it took a village to finish raising us and our new baby. So, we had good support. But I think a lot of it was prayer. Honestly, because it was rough from the very beginning.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up next. I didn't want anybody to hear this and say, listen how charmed life they've had. It's, they started out wrong and it all went great. No. It didn't all just go great. I would say now it's great. Not just now, but especially right now, it's really great. But it's gotten better and better and better and better and better all the time. But in those early days especially, and even all those years, afterward, things were not easy. And it's not, people shouldn't think that marriage is going to be easy, because it's not. But it is worth it. It's worth the work, whatever it is, because we can testify as to right now, and I know she would agree with this, that to get to where we are now, there's nothing really that can compare with that. Like you can't equate something to having been married for 46 and a half years and love each other the way we do and have the relationship we have. It's worth more than you can't put a figure on it. You know what I'm saying?
The amount of trouble and things that we went through were worth it to get to this point.
Right. And unfortunately, so many people don't. Or if they do, somehow or another they make it to this point, but they don't really have the kind, I'm saying like we have. We're not special.
Right.
We just did things. Like when we saw something to do that would help our marriage, we did it. And that's the only difference. And it does make a difference because we're happy together. We're not just together and still together. We are that, but we're happy being together. We love each other more than ever right now. So.
Well, and you correct me if you don't want me to.
Don't worry, I will.
There. Okay. So when we first got married, Steve was not saved. I was saved. Had been attending church for several years, and after we got married, it was tough. It was tough for him to not be a Christian and me trying to live right. And I was going to church. He went on Sundays. One of the things he told my mom and dad when we got married was, I will go to church with her every Sunday. And he has done that every Sunday. But early in our marriage, when we were really struggling hard, a lady named Eleanor Price that was in the church came to me. And, she was not a person that was in the center of my life. She was just a lady in the church that I knew. And she came to me and gave me a notebook. And she had written page after page after page she didn't try to teach me something. She wrote out a prayer that I could pray. And it was a prayer of how, not really, I can't say how to bind and loose things or she just wrote the prayer out. And I just started in repeating that prayer on a daily basis. And it was a long prayer. And even to this day, I find myself when I'm praying, I've read it so many times that it's just in me. And I think that was the beginning of the change. And not because I did it. It was because it was the Lord, it was the prayer. And it was really amazing, because then that was probably right before Steve got saved in 83, which we'd been married, 4 years, I guess. And he gave his heart to the Lord. And it was just right after we'd been at couples retreat. And he told me, he showed signs at couples retreat that he was getting very close. And that was the year that we had like 17 couples that went. And people, I had communicated with other people, and people were praying. He didn't have a chance.
She was plotting against you.
Yeah, I was. And so that was very cool. But, we sometimes think when we do something that it doesn't have that much effect. But just like that lady, she didn't teach me Sunday school. She didn't become a part of my life. She did, just by giving me that notebook. And it's changed my life. It'll have affected generations. So we have to recognize that what we do doesn't just affect us. What we do affects generations. Not generations just in our family, but the people that are watching us, the people that are observing our lives. Their lives are changed by it. And we might think, well, not really. Yeah, they are. But it's not always for the good. Sometimes it's for the bad. But know that you are influencing someone all the time, whether it's bad or whether it's good. Those seeds are planted and those seeds are growing. Are they bad seeds? They can be. Are they good seeds? They can be. So when we do something, it does affect more than just us. And when we spend that time in prayer, completely changes everything. And it, again, changes generations. So.
And if you're raising kids, they see this stuff. Whether they see individually, know exactly what you're doing every day, no, but they see how your marriage is working. They see if you're being a Christian or you're just faking it or whatever it may be. Everybody has problems, but I'm just saying you're training them, whether you think you're training them or not. You're just by raising them, and they're seeing what you're doing, and they're taking lessons from all that stuff, even if you may not be trying to teach a lesson.
Right. So
I think it's not just our marriage that, it's probably affecting your marriage, with our daughter. So, well, hopefully it is. And so, and on and on and on. So, you're always kind of sending a signal out to people, whether you want to or believe you are or not. You're doing that, but there are just so many things that, going back to what we were talking about earlier, people don't know. And give you a couple of examples, things we've learned. They're just so simple. Once you understand it, it makes perfect sense. But like people, I don't mean to generalize, but people like say, oh, you know how women or ladies, they talk all the time. Well, it's a fact that women have to have somewhere in the neighborhood of like 20,000 words a day or something like that. Men only need about 12 to 15,000 words a day. Now, those numbers may not be the right numbers, but you get the difference. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Generally speaking, and this is putting aside whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, women just need to talk more than men do about their life and about things. And if you go in there and say, you need to be like me and shut your mouth or whatever, you're going against the nature of the person. You see what I mean? You're trying to ask them to do something that they probably can't do.
Right.
And it's not their fault, it's your fault, because you're asking them to do the impossible. And if you just learn some of these things that are the differences between men and women, for example, women need to be loved. It says, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for it. It tells the women, it doesn't say love your husbands like Christ loved the church. It said respect your husbands. So the man craves and needs respect more than the feeling of the love, whereas the woman needs the love the most. That doesn't mean you disrespect your wife. It just means you don't have the same need. You're not just
We're
the
two
same
different creatures.
Exactly.
Yeah, two
and
different
your
creatures.
gender creates that to some degree. And people just simply don't know some of these basic tenets of life like that. And if you apply that to your marriage, well, then you can see really quickly how that can change a whole lot of things in your interaction with each other. If you try to talk her down and say, you know, don't talk so much, that's her nature. And especially in our case, she's an extrovert and I'm an introvert. So an extrovert just has the tendency to talk more and be outwardly more outspoken. Well, if you couple that with the gender factor, and then she's got to talk a whole lot more than I do, you know, in a normal setting.
Right.
And these things are super important when it comes to living your life together. Not to fight those things, but to accept them and live around those. Try to build your try to build your life around the fact that that is a truth that you need to deal with.
Bobbi, I feel like you're wanting to say something.
Oh, I got all kinds of things going on in my head right now.
Go ahead.
Well, the main thing that I think we wanted to bring today is just hope. If you're a marriage that is, you know, doing great, there's even greater hope that it'll even be better, and that you can get through anything. Maybe you're struggling and you're on the fence and thinking, oh, you know, I think I'm done with this.
I made a mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's hope, you know, and I think the beginning of that hope, well, let me back up just a second. Okay, so many years ago, lots of things happened many years ago. Many years ago, I was introduced to a book that is called The Power of a Praying Wife. And I remember when I first got it, you know, the name makes you think, you know, me and power. I like, you know, power. Yeah. But anyway, so that book has really, you know, over the years changed my life. I mean, I have Power of a Praying Wife and Power of a Praying Parent. And those books are with me when I sit down to do my prayer time. They're always with me. And they're pretty raveled because it's been many years that I've had those books. But what those books do is they teach you how to pray God's word. And so between the book or the notebook that I got from Eleanor and then these books, I think the foundation of all of this is prayer. And I just want people to know that there is hope, and that if they would just dive in and start right there, that gives them a place to kind of take off from.
And it's never too late.
No.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
It can be more than you ever dreamed it could be. And that's if you're starting at our age, and you still have hopefully several years more of life and marriage together. It can still be more than you ever dreamed it could be.
Yeah. And then we don't want to forget to even mention, like, the 5 love languages have been huge in our lives.
Right. It's it's like the elephant in the room. It's probably, if there was any one thing, we've said this to many people and couples, that if a person could just learn about the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. He wrote the book to start with, and that will help everybody's marriage immensely. And it's not just another book. It's a whole different way of living your married life. And if you take that and you actually implement it into your marriage, which we did once we learned about it, we sat down and said, we're going to do this, and we're going to start changing our behavior based on that. And I had to find out what her primary and at least her secondary love language was. And that's what makes her go. That's what turns her on. That's what energizes her. That's what she needs. It may not be mine. And everybody gets focused on what mine is. Well, no, you need to focus on what theirs is. And then they'll focus on what yours is. And then it's not so much the words and everything, but it's a way of behaving toward your spouse that speaks their love language, or that tells them when they see you doing that thing or hear you saying those words or whatever it may be, that's what gives them the feeling, hey, I'm being loved by this person. And it builds that up in them. And when she does that for me, then we're both, they call it your love tank being full. And it's probably the one principle or set of principles that's probably made the greatest difference in our lives in marriage. Is the 5 love
it's kind of like I was talking about, moving the stuff off the countertop, us communicating and find out what he really wanted. It's finding out how the other person actually feels loved and communicating that to them. And there's no reason for me to have a key that doesn't unlock the right door. I need the key that unlocks the correct door. And so I think that's really important. And I think a lot of people, that's been around for a long time. And I think a lot of people think, oh yeah, I kind of understand the concept of love languages or whatever. Get the book, read the book, devour it. It'll change your world.
Take the test at the end of the book.
Absolutely. And they have it for children. They have it for you to find out about your children and what kind of love language they have. That's so huge, so important. I know that I was praying one day for Holly when she was just a little girl, and the Lord showed me very clearly that she needed quality time. That's before we read the book. And once I started doing that, she started just like talking to me more and communicating with me more. And before that, she was kind of closed off a little bit toward me especially. And it changed everything in our relationship. And I didn't even realize about the love languages. The Lord just showed me that. And so, yeah, devour that book. It'll change your relationship. If you're single, it'll change your work relationships. If you can apply that to all kinds of relationships. They even have a book that's on the 5 love languages for work, like to use at work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there any resentment if you guys, if you take the test, if you read the book, you take the test, you know what the other person's love language is, and then you feel like they're not doing,
Absolutely.
They know what my love language is, but they're not doing it.
Absolutely. You have to go into it with a mindset that you're not going into it to get your love language spoken to you. You're going into it to speak their love language. Because if you do that, you're going to be disappointed, because you're going to think, why aren't they understanding it? And you also need to help your spouse out, because if you don't have the same love languages, it's hard to understand the other person's love language. Early on when we learned, mine was physical touch, and physical touch was not his. Help them out, instead of just waiting for him to pat you or waiting for him to sit next to him yourself, and then he'll pat you, or, if he's in the recliner, go sit on his lap, whatever, but help your spouse learn how to speak your love language. You know, work on it together instead of just sitting back and waiting for them to perform something that's supposed to take care of you. You need to go into it, you know.
And what will
open
probably be happening prior to that discussion, or like you showing them, is like, if I don't know any better, I'll be doing for Bobbi what my love language is for me. Like, I'll be trying to perform for her what I wish she would do for me. And that brings up another issue of the golden rule. Like, a lot of people say, well, yeah, but Jesus told us to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So if you would like for somebody to clean out your garage, and that would really show that I care about you, then if that's what you want, you would come and clean my garage. But if I just want you to tell me how great I am and I did a great job at my work or whatever, and I don't care about you cleaning stuff out for me and doing work for me, I need you to tell me nice things.
Right.
You're going to do for me what you want done for you. But the golden rule really means find out what that person wants. Because what would you want me to do for you? What you want or what I want for me? See, the golden rule is really this at the heart of it. It's find out what makes that person happy and go do that thing, not do what you want. That's, wouldn't you want someone, if they wanted to do something nice for you, wouldn't you want them to find out what it is you want done?
Absolutely.
Instead, what people do is they do what they want.
Yeah.
And they think you're going to respond the way they would respond, and that's not the way it works.
Right.
They're missing the one key factor.
Yep.
We could talk about this stuff all day.
But once you see that, though, then you go, oh, aha, like, you know.
Yeah. No, it makes good sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shannon, Tia, Tim, do you guys have anything to bring up? No?
I just want to know what their love languages are now. I know Bobbi's is touch.
Yeah, physical. Actually, there's 5, and probably you can intertwine the 4 for me. So that makes it real easy on Steve. Gifts is not a huge one, although I like gifts every once in a while. But the other 4 are kind of.
What are the 5? I'm sure you have them memorized.
Here we go. Let's see.
Yeah, words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, gifts, and
Acts of service.
Acts of service.
Yeah.
Shannon.
That's mine.
Yeah.
Good job.
And the quality time has a lot of times been broken down in what they would call a different dialect of that same language is quality activities.
Okay.
Because Bobbi's is a little bit more quality activities than it is quality time. She would rather she and I clean the garage out together. Like, she loves it when we get a project and we go do it.
I know she likes that Nashville place too.
Yeah.
With the cover bridge or whatever.
Yeah. I bet yours is the same as mine when it comes to the quality time. It's quality, like getting something done together.
Yeah, I enjoy accomplishing things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think yours.
So you guys you're intentional about this. You've made your marriage a priority. You've been intentional about trying to make it better, going to the counseling or the conferences, camps, retreats, reading books, things like that. And according to you guys, it's very well worth it. Some people I would think would struggle with that. I don't know if that's for me, but you guys say do it. It's worth it.
Well, and it's so easy now. Go online and find a good teacher on marriage and listen to some teaching online.
Go to, like, if somebody's in a different town, there's going to be a special speaker. Just go listen to that one presentation or whatever. It may show you things that like you did us, if just a couple of key factors can clean up 80-90% of your problems. It's really unbelievable sometimes. I think there's other parts of life that probably are the same way. If you just learn 1 or 2 good things, you can apply that to, like, the rest of your life and solves maybe 80% of your problems. And it's that way with this. And there are so many things out there to tear your marriage down that are going to happen to you and everybody that's married anyway. So, don't want to sound too urgent about it, but the odds are against you.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you can do anything to bolster your marriage and to enrich it and to build it up, it's going to pay you in the long run to do it.
Real quick, what each of you, one thing you would recommend people avoid? Like, what's the biggest problem that you may see in a marriage?
Not forgiving your spouse.
Not forgiving?
Mm-hmm.
Steve?
Yeah.
Well, that's a huge one. That would probably be the number one. But then secondarily would be not thinking of them as if it were you, thinking of them as in what do they need?
Mm-hmm.
What does she want? What am I doing or not doing that she would want to change about me? Not what I want, not what I think. Because my intentions could be very well in that, but I could be doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Not assuming I know.
And the forgiveness doesn't come natural. It has to be a God thing.
Yeah.
And when you start praying for that other person and asking God to help you forgive them, you can't keep from start loving them more. When you're praying for somebody else, you're going to start caring more about them.
Okay, so in conclusion, God number one, make him the priority. Number two would probably be prayer, would you say?
Putting your spouse
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Praying for your spouse first and their needs first, making them forgiveness, communication, and those are the key steps to having a good marriage, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're good for today, unless anybody back there has anything else. No. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on The Cast, and we look forward to doing this again next time.
This has been The Cast, a production of Bedford First Assembly of God in Bedford, Indiana. Your hosts were Emily Taylor and Gary West, produced by Shannon Hiles and Tia Hiles, and engineered by Tim Ray. Be sure to watch for new episodes of The Cast every Monday.